Hey everyone, I finished watching the next episode of Time Force, Bodyguard in Blue. This has got to be one of my favorite Time Force episodes so far. And it's weird because I don't even really remember this one that well. Like, there's other episodes I've seen so far in my Time Force rewatch that, like, I remember them a lot better than this one, but I don't really like them as much as this one. It's so weird. Why didn't I remember this one? Whatever. Maybe it's because of the later episodes, they just... I don't know, they overwhelm episodes like this in my mind, and the earlier episodes were some of the earlier ones I saw, so they were the first impression I got. Maybe that's why I don't remember this one as well. But anyway, this one is a really, really good episode. I really love it. Starts off, Mr. Collins is at a press conference, and he announces that the Silver Guardians will now be led by the Quantum Ranger Eric. And he also says that he has scientists studying the Quantum Ranger powers, and he's going to be equipping all of the Silver Guardians with Ranger tech. Then we see the Rangers back at the clock tower are watching this, and Wes grumbles to himself, "Still only cares about money." That's a plot point that won't come back in this episode. Whatever. Anyway, the next morning, one of the scientists, Dr. Zazkin, he's heading out for work. He stops to kiss his daughter goodbye, and oh, there's a cute little thing here. The girl has a teddy bear and talks to it. And it reminds me a lot of in Lightspeed, there was a little girl in, I don't remember the name of the episode, who had a teddy bear that she talked to. So that's a cool little thing. Anyway, oh yeah, the daughter goes back inside, and then she's like, "Oh," and then she holds up the teddy bear. "He forgot to kiss you goodbye." So then she goes back out to her father, only to see him being kidnapped by Nadira, a monster, and a bunch of cyclobots. The father yells at the girl, Holly, to get back inside, to run away. Nadira sends the cyclobots after the girl. She runs away, and she hides in this box near the garbage, and there's a really tense moment here. And then the cyclobots eventually, they wander away. She gets out of the garbage, and she runs, and she happens across Lucas. Let's see, there's been a little accident on the street or something. Some woman's car bumped into a guy, or the guy's car bumped into her, whatever. Anyway, the guy is really overreacting, and he's about ready to kill this girl over his bumped car. Anyway, Lucas comes in and, like, smacks that guy away, and Holly sees this, and, oh, she overhears him tell the woman that he runs an odd job shop. "You can hire me for anything," and she's like, So then she goes to Lucas, and she's like, "I want to hire you to be my bodyguard." And at first Lucas is like, "What?" And he doesn't take her seriously, and all she says is, "They're after me." He doesn't know what she's talking about, and I do like that they make what she says not clear. Like, she doesn't know the technical names of the cyclobots. She's a little kid, she doesn't know how to convey, her proper thoughts and, like, what she's trying to say. I can't even do that as an adult. Anyway, now let's see. She tells him that her father was kidnapped by robots, and Lucas isn't sure about it. He asks her address. He calls Trip. He's like, "Hey, Trip, can you check out this address?" And, oh, there's an interesting thing. Ranger Wiki said that the address that she gives him and the address on the house are different. Huh, that's interesting. Anyway, Trip looks up the house. He says, "Okay, Dr. Zazkin lives there." And then Jen comes over, and she's like, "He was just kidnapped or something," and I don't remember, on the news. I don't remember what they were saying now. I actually watched the episode like a few days ago, so it's kind of fuzzy. Anyway, let's see, where is... Okay, so Trip tells Lucas, yep, she's telling the truth, and then Lucas turns to see Holly's under attack by a bunch of cyclobots trying to break into his car. He fights off the mutants, gets into the car, he drives off, and then the mutant Clawlocks, that's his weird name, pops up in the middle of the road and attacks the car. And then, meanwhile, the Rangers, they find Dr. Zazkin being held captive by Nadira and the Cyclobots. They fight their way through the Cyclobots to save Zazkin. Back with Lucas. Lucas jumps out of the car. He tells Holly to hide. He's fighting the mutant on foot. And apparently they have secret identities now, which is kind of weird. Doesn't matter. Who knows? Whatever. Anyway, he morphs, which surprises Holly. Understandable. I don't know why Time Force of all seasons was one where they kept the secret identity thing, because it doesn't really matter. No one knows who they are. And even if they did know they were from the future, would it really affect anything? They're still Power Rangers. Like in the past, people thought Power Rangers were aliens or whatever. Anyway, looking through my notes here. Okay. There's a part where the monster Clawlox knocks down Lucas. He's on the ground, and Clawlox is about to zap him with his weird hand cannon thing. Holly jumps in the way, yells at the monster, like that's gonna help. Apparently it does. The monster yanks her teddy bear away, throws it up in the air, and zaps it. Just to be a jerk. So anyway, that gives Lucas the opportunity to jump back up, start fighting with Clawlox again. And then we cut back to the Rangers, and they rescue Zazkin with the help of the Silver Guardians, who pop up just in time. Back with Lucas, he's managing to hold off the mutant, and he almost defeats him. The Rangers show up, but then the mutant grows, and so the Rangers got to call their Megazord. Eric shows up in the Q-Rex to help the Rangers, and they defeat Clawlox. Then we see Eric return to Silver Guardian headquarters. And oh yeah, this was something earlier on when Dr. Zazkin was kidnapped. Mr. Collins tells Eric to retrieve the Quantum Ranger research, and also Zazkin. So anyway, now he gets back to Mr. Collins. He says that Dr. Zazkin didn't reveal any information. He's been saved and blah blah blah. And there's a really cool moment here that I didn't really think about when I was a kid, or even when I was an adult a while ago, where Eric adds, when he's talking to Mr. Collins, what was it? Dr. Zazkin wasn't harmed. And Mr. Collins goes, "Oh, it's good to know." I just love that. It shows Mr. Collins, like, he's slowly starting to learn a little bit about humanity or whatever, but he still doesn't really, he can't really comprehend why someone would care about their well-being over money. Yeah. And we have a really nice little subtle moment with Eric also when he turns to leave, and you see he's starting to learn a little bit about humanity also, and like learn empathy for people or whatever. Back with Lucas. Lucas takes Holly home, and she agrees to keep his identity secret. And then Lucas gives her a new teddy bear, and cool episode. I really like this one. This is a fun one. It's a really strong entry for Time Force. My nose keeps itching for some reason. Everything in this episode ties together really well. Everything's set up is like, it reaches a natural feeling conclusion. I'm sure part of that is because so much of the plot was just copied straight from Time Ranger. Time Force, of all the Power Ranger seasons that have come so far, I think probably sticks the closest, for the most part, to its Sentai counterparts' plots. Although, yeah, for the most part, it sticks to the Sentai plots. So that's probably part of why this works so well, because they were working with a plot that was already good to begin with, and they just smoothed it out and ironed some things. And so, yeah, cool episode for Lucas. Lucas gets some really good character-focused episodes in this series. Oh, and the monster of this episode, Clawlox. There's not too much about his personality that's too interesting. The interesting thing about him is his design, because he's really obviously supposed to look like Canagon from Ultra Q. Canagon was a monster who ate money. And, let's see, oh, in Time Ranger, Clawlox was let's see, before he was a mutant, he was a human money launderer, according to Ranger Wiki. So that's cool. So yeah, no doubt it was a reference to a money-eating monster from Ultra Q. But the weirdest thing is on Ranger Wiki, if you look up Clawlox's Japanese counterpart, it says that his design is based off a hammerhead shark. What? Like, I'm looking at it, hammerhead sharks don't have antennas. They're not yellow. They don't really look anything like Clawlox. It's so weird, a tokusatsu-themed Wikipedia doesn't know one of the most recognizable, like, kaiju characters in Toku history. It's so bizarre to me. Why does it say he's a hammerhead, and there's, like, zero information about him looking like Canagon? That's a really cool little bit of trivia, and it's not there. Instead it says he's a hammerhead, and that's the end of it. It's so stupid. Whatever. Back to, like, actual things about the episode. There's a lot of moments. Oh, there's a lot of moments in here that are reminiscent of previous episodes. the whole scene with a little girl finding out a ranger's identity reminds me a lot of Carlos and Sylvie from In Space, although it's a lot more tolerable here, as it's like just one small element of the episode and not a major overarching plot point that lasts several episodes and grates on you. Let's see. Oh yeah, the scene where Holly first tells Lucas about being in danger and her father being kidnapped is really similar to the scene from Trakina's Revenge, where the little girl goes to Carter and tells him about monsters kidnapping her parents, although this scene in Time Force plays out far, far better, since Lucas, like, he can see that, like, while he's skeptical of what she's saying, he still knows something is up. Like, even if what she's doing is not a, like, Power Rangers level threat, it's still something to, like, take seriously. He's not just gonna brush her off like Carter did for no reason when it was well established monsters exist and she told him that monsters did something. Trakina's Revenge was really stupid. So then, let's see. There was some other thing about this episode. I can't remember now. What was it? Oh, now I remember. It was the little girl talking to the teddy bear from Lightspeed. That's the other thing this episode reminded me of. Oh, well, anyway. This is a really good episode. I feel like the creative team behind Power Rangers, by this point in Time Force, they had really figured everything out. Like, the show, it was just very smooth going. Like, everything just falls perfectly into place. There's no rough edges like there were in the past seasons. They had, like, everything just, it was a well-oiled machine by Time Force. It's really too bad that the creative team on Time Force didn't get to stay with the show. The team that they did keep, the stunt team, did continue to improve as the years went on, and so that was really cool. But yeah, great episode, really love it. That's all for this one, I guess. See ya.